I wish I understood what addiction was. When I was 22, I thought addiction should be one of the obvious things like drugs, playing video games, or gambling or something. And because I did none of those obvious things, I thought I was a good boy and wasn't addicted. But what I didn't realize was that I was lying to myself. In reality, I was extremely addicted. I just didn't knew it at that time because I was addicted to things that disguised themselves as positive things. I was, for example, addicted to watching educational YouTube videos, to books, or to work. What I didn't realize at 22, however, is that watching an educational YouTube video can be as much of a waste of time as watching an episode of Friends. If you are, for example, not executing on any of the things that are being said in the YouTube video and you're just watching hours and hours and hours on end, then you might as well not have watched those videos at all. Number 2, when I was 20, I went to an Erasmus because I hoped that going to a different city would finally make me happy. What I didn't realize is that the only way that I would become happier by moving to a different city is if in that city I would go to a therapist. And so I wish I knew in my 20s that change doesn't happen through blaming external things like school or the city you're living or the mistakes that your friend made or your parents or your ex or anything like that. The only way to become happy is to blame yourself, so stop changing cities. Number 3, when I was 20, I was feeling lost and thought that everyone was already way better than me. I was constantly comparing myself with big shot artists that were already famous at the age of 22 and died at the age of 27 in order to become legends for the rest of time. And because of that, I felt that I only had a couple of years left to achieve the same results as they did. And if I didn't, I would never be able to anymore for the rest of my life. And this pressure is complete bullshit. What I wish I knew at that age is that these amazing artists either came from extremely wealthy families that could market their career for them, or were extremely lucky. What I wish I knew was that it's impossible to become that successful that early on based on skill alone. Number 4, a lot of people tend to advise you to be careful with alcohol because it can lead to substance abuse, addiction, and peeing your pants. But here's the thing. I'm 29 now, and at the moment I'm having a hangover of 1 glass of wine I drank last week. And so is it possible that alcohol will improve your life only if you're young? And should you therefore start drinking as soon as possible? Who can say? Apparently not me, legally. Anyway, joking aside, number 5. When I was 23, I was extremely curious. I was constantly learning and observing, and above all, I was an entitled piece of shit. The truth is that being 23 is stupid because on the one hand, you want to travel the world, but on the other hand, you don't even know how taxes work, and so really, your expectations of life are not in line with what you are worth. When you are 23, you simply don't deserve to travel the world. The mentality of a 23-year-old is broken. They rather live with their parents than do a job that pays slightly less than what they've studied for because they feel too good about themselves. They feel like they should get credits for their genius artistic ideas without having sold any piece of art yet in their lives. And they think that every second they don't spend on their own work or upgrading themselves is a waste of their time and their precious gifts. But when you then ask what they want to do in life with that gift, they have no clue. And so for number 5, I wish that I could recognize how entitled I was at 23 and do something about it. Because now 6 years later I realize that entitled people don't get anywhere in life, ever. Number 6, I wish that I understood that doing is the most important thing. If someone wanted to do something, they would have done it. The harsh truth is that you don't want to realize that that guy that didn't send you back didn't want to. That your roommate who didn't do the dishes properly even though you asked actually didn't care about your opinion, and that John, who wasn't on time, didn't want to be on time. Don't listen to what people say, but watch what they do. And more importantly, this does not only apply to other people, but also to yourself. If you care about someone, but you cannot drive an extra 9 minutes with your car to bring them home because it would be a 15-minute detour to your trip, then guess what? You don't care about them at all. Number 7. I wish I knew what responsibility was when I was 24. According to a quick search, being responsible means that you have the ability to fix things after you did something wrong and are able to make up for your mistakes. If this is your definition of responsibility, you're completely right and very mature for your age. Except for the fact that you're a child and absolutely wrong, because this has nothing to do with responsibility at all. As a matter of fact, it's almost the opposite of real responsibility. Real responsibility is when when you take responsibility not for your own mistakes, but for other people's mistakes. Because even though they made a mistake, you are still the one being stuck with the problem, and you are the only one that can solve it. Instead of blaming others and only fixing your own mistakes, you should start blaming yourself. If your girlfriend cheats on you with another guy, it's your fault because you could have chosen another girlfriend. If people punch you in the hospital for no reason whatsoever, it's your fault because you could have interacted with different people. And if an airplane crashes on your house, it's your fault because nobody was stopping you from moving to a different location. Stop blaming other people for your problems. Number 8, face your fears before it's too late. When I was 21 and it came to relationships, I was afraid that whenever I would get closer to someone, they would expose me. I was afraid that I would make the wrong decision when it comes to taking a partner and that I would therefore waste years of my life. I was afraid that girls would reject me and that I would find out that I was just not good enough. And because of that, I never dove into relationships, even though, believe it or not, a lot of girls, sometimes even hot girls, were actually very interested in me, but I was too afraid to interact with them. And what I didn't realize at the time was that I did in fact not have all the time in the world, and that after university I would never have the same opportunities again, because I would become a guy that would work 7 days 7 alone in his studio making art and videos, meaning that I would see about one girl every 6 months, whereas previously I would see several very attractive girls every single day. Face your fears before it's too late. Number 9, let's do a quick little riddle. Let's say you want to make money, and there are 2 things that you can do. The first thing is called Yellow Spot. It will make you $10 a year and will take you 1 month to acquire. The second thing you can do is called Green Spot. It will make you $60 a year, but it will take you 12 months to acquire. What should you be doing to make the most amount of money possible? You can pause here and think about it, or just listen further. Well, most people will do Yellow Spot because in a 12-month period they can acquire 12 yellow spots that will make them $10 a year each, which equals to about $120 a year. And that is more than $60 a year, and so this makes a lot of sense. But people like Elon Musk or Jeff Bezos will try and acquire green spots instead. And so why are they doing that? Well, they will collect green spots because they know that everybody else will choose yellow spots. And because everybody chooses yellow spots, the competitive market advantage of yellow spots goes away after a while. Let's say 12 months or so. And so here's what happens. In the first 12 months, 99% of people are making $120 a year by collecting yellow spots. And Elon Musk is only making $60 a year by collecting green spots. By the second year, 99% is still only making $120 a year because the first 12 yellow spots they acquired don't work anymore, because everyone else started doing it as well, and Elon Musk is now making $120 a year. By the 5th year, the people who were collecting yellow spots are still only making $120 a year because they keep on losing their competitive market advantage, whereas Elon Musk is now making $300 a year. And so by doing the hard thing, you allow yourself to stack up your victories, which enable you to get more in the long run. Short-term tactics can be great in that they work and give you some sort of benefit, but they also get commoditized very quickly. And so in the long run, it's not your best option. When I look at my early social media journey, for example, I was constantly searching for the next tactic that would get me some extra followers or some extra likes. But the thing is that even when I was one of the early adopters of a new tactic, after a couple of months, everyone will be using it, and so the benefits would be gone in an instant. Now, what does that mean in a practical way? Well, it means that instead of figuring out what the right amount of hashtags are and which hashtags you should be using, you should buy a book on comedy and figure out how to become funny instead. Becoming funny might be harder, but once you achieve it, you will always be funnier than the majority of your social media competitors because everyone else is trying the hashtag thing. Number 10, if for some reason you manage to become 29, you will be at my age, and there really isn't any advice I can give there since I still have to screw it up for myself. But I do feel like it's going to be horrible because all my friends are slowly moving in with each other, buying houses, starting families, getting married, and I'm doing none of that. But on the bright side, at least I'm slowly dying inside. Now, if for some reason you want to watch another video of me, I recommend 11 things poor artists do that rich artists don't, because it's kind of the money version of this video. It's linked up in the description and the end screen. That said, get the hell out of here.